for India to move forward and to reach the goals that they have set themselves to reach. They're there and they're eager, and I think it is for all of us to think what we can do from wherever we are to help them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jolie, on your inputs. We definitely make observations on these things so that it can go to the government. Thank you. And coming to Sachin, that because the time restriction, I want you to request to make it simple and crystal clear. How will the climate risk influence the investments portfolios, especially in this scenario? Sachin, it's to you. Yeah. Maybe I think we are not able to hear.
Yeah. Well, over the next decade, the climate risk will fundamentally reshape the way India Inc. and the investors make equity investments in India. I clearly see 4 channels wherein there is a direct impact of the climate risk. One is the physical risk, second is transition risk, third is regulatory risk, and fourth, which is very critical for any investment decision, is the cost of capital. I'll take these issues one by one. One is physical risk, wherein there is direct impact on the asset quality and the cash flows. India is amongst the most vulnerable countries in the world in terms of the impact by the climate change. So what it means as an investor and while making an investment or incurring capex is you have to put incremental capex for the changing climate conditions because we are seeing more frequency and severity of the natural disasters like floods, heat waves and cyclones in India. So you have to have an asset class which is climate change proof for at least few decades to come. So that's number one. Second is volatility in the operational costs. So whenever there are calamities which are much more beyond the natural comprehension, there will be volatility in your operating costs. And see what it means to the business preparation going forward is that you have to factor in those extreme conditions and account for that. So there will be a direct impact on the industries like food processing, infrastructure, logistics, real estate, and even BFSI in terms of the insurance coverage they have to do to take in account for such changes which are happening. Well, the companies and the sectors which will be better prepared for the future events will be much better placed and will definitely get higher valuation than their peers. Second is transition risk. So as we speak, the policy and the technological advances are towards decarbonization of the world. For example, there is a global supply chain pressure from the European Union's CBAM regime, wherein the heavy industries and which are the major cause for pollution like the steel, the metals, the chemicals, they have to undergo transition and become greener in their operations. What it means to them is loss in the margin and regulatory pressure going forward. The brown assets, for example, the thermal power plants, we are already seeing they are being penalized, for being in the wrong place. And there is a valuation discount which the market is putting to them. At the same time, you would have seen that no institutional investor is touching or putting more investments into the the asset class which is polluting. So this means going forward that there will be a pressure on this particular sector, and any investor who is looking to invest going forward into the future, he will think whether this asset or asset class it adheres to the global norm of keeping the climate change temperature within 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is the global target. Third risk, which I feel is the regulatory risk. For example, SEBI has already put in norms, ESG norms for the top 1,000 listed companies in India. Earlier, this norm was voluntary. Now it has been made mandatory. And going forward, there will be more pressure and compliance requirements from the government body side, including SEBI. For the bigger companies, it's even more stringent because they are integrated globally. And so while they have to adhere to the domestic norms, they also adhere to the global norms of the West.
Sachin, with the time restriction we have, because we have something to do, so I want to finish it off. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just summarize in terms of regulatory risk, so the companies, which are adhering to those plans and, preparing in advance, they will definitely trade at a higher multiple. And fourth, which is the most critical, for my discussion point, is the cost of capital. Very close to my heart, being an investor myself, I know that if you are climate change and ESG compliant, you can get longer debt at a lower cost. You attract superior equity capital, which again comes at a lower cost, and you get lower insurance premiums. So all in all, it means that your cost of capital is going down, and the market will provide premium to the valuation. So ESG and climate change risk matrices, they are not just a lip service or ESG norms anymore. They are going to change the way we are going to invest, and they are the valuation drivers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sachin. And may I now invite CII, where they are prepared to release two important reports. One is on resilience framework of Eluru and West Godavari districts. And the second one is on building climate resilience for Indian industry. And I request the technical team to keep the QR codes ready. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the launch of the report on disaster resilience framework of Eluru and West Godavari district. As you can see that we have a QR code on screen. You can scan this QR code and download this report. Let's have a big round of applause. We also have the launch of a second report. The second report is on building climate resilience for the Indian industry. Can we please present the reports? Once again, as you can see on your screens, we have the QR code. You can download this report by scanning this QR code. Building climate resilience for the Indian industry.
Thank you so much, all the panelists, for your insightful contributions for today's discussion, where the key examples what you have shared with us definitely will give a lot of deliberations and to the government through our policy advocacy through CA also. And today's discussion, which is centric on the climate risk, is a very big business risk, right? But also that resilience can become a strategic opportunity for Indian enterprises. So the climate intelligence and early adaptation are essential for competitiveness. And this business can integrate climate risk into strategic planning, supply chains, and value creation models. And I represent Avera, where under manufacturing electric scooters, our own journey from pandemic resilience to global climate dialogues has shown us when businesses, policies, and come together, sustainability becomes a multiplier of growth. I hope today's discussion inspires, and much more collective action. Let us move forward with a collective commitment to build a climate resilient, competitive, and sustainable Indian economy. And I request CII to take this forward. CII, please.
Thank you, Session Chair Dr. Venkatramana, for moderating this session and for your valuable inputs and engaging our eminent panelists in the deep conversations. Thank you so much for your insights. And now may I request you in your capacity as Session Chair to kindly do the honors in presenting the mementos to each of our speakers as a gesture of our appreciation for their time and expertise. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you to join me in giving a big hand to our panelists. I request the other speakers to kindly come forward. And at the end, we'll also have a group photograph. And on behalf of CII, may I invite Ms. Seema Arora to please join us on stage and present the memento to our session moderator. May I request session moderator Dr. Venkatraman to please come forward for receiving the memento. Sir, please, we'll have a group photograph. Requesting all the speakers to kindly come forward for a group photograph. May I request our speakers to please join us for a group photograph. And with this, we conclude the first session of second day of the summit. We will be moving on to our next session. We'll request you to kindly be with us while we just take a few minutes to make the necessary table arrangements. Thank you.